right now Thembisa Fakude, who is a senior research fellow, Africa-Asia Dialogues. Thembisa, thank you so much for your time this afternoon as we continue with analysis on what is happening in Gaza. I mean, what could be behind Israel's motive in this massive assault on Gaza, essentially shattering what analysts have described as a fragile ceasefire with Hamas to begin with?
Well, what's behind this is pure and simple. It's just moral deficiency. This is a country that's bombarded Gaza over the past 15 months, 8 months. It has stopped aid from coming into Gaza, switched off electricity and water supplies. And now we see this happening. Already we have 400 people that have been reported dead because of the Israeli strikes. And it also serves to prolong Benjamin Netanyahu's career as he faces challenges in his political career in Israel. So this is just kicking the can down the road. Kill the people and kill as many as you can while you try to resuscitate or save your political career. There's no other reason why, even if the ceasefire has collapsed, that after using or turning off power supply and water, you resort into, once again, bombarding Gaza as it's been done since early hours of this morning, particularly during the month of Ramadan. So this is a country and a leadership that's really not interested in peace. It's a country that's really interested in ensuring that the process of completing the genocide that they've started on October the 7th continues. There's no other explanation that justifies this brutality on the innocent women and children of Gaza at the moment.
And I mean, later today, in fact, we will be going to the UN Security Council as it's holding that open briefing on the ongoing situation in the Middle East, focusing specifically on Palestinians. We understand, of course, that this was a motion and a briefing that was requested by Algeria. What should global leaders, do in this front? We do understand, as I've also pointed out to Giles, that the UK is calling for an immediate, resumption of talks and to have that ceasefire restored back again. But fundamentally, what should be happening now, particularly in terms of the Security Council briefing that is happening later today?
Security Council has become a toothless organization. It consists of 5 permanent members of the Security Council who will veto any decision anyway that will go against Israel, the United States being one of them. You must remember that what happened this time around was at the behest and permission of Donald Trump, who threatened earlier on that he was going to create hell for the Palestinians. So we see that happening at the moment. So the sitting of the United Nations Security Council means nothing because not all of them are going to agree. And if they do agree on anything else, you're going to have United States vetoing whatever it is that's going to be agreed at the United Nations Security Council. If also you have countries, the Arab brethren of the Palestinians, in the form of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and others who are doing absolutely nothing. They've got the wherewithal to stop this crime from continuing. They possess power in the means of gas and oil. They can easily switch it off and sanction Israel, including Turkey for that matter. No one is doing it. So it's going to be another filled day for the Israeli forces who will continue killing and taking selfies with the dead bodies of the Palestinians the rest of this day. And we don't know how long this is going to last, but by the look of things, it looks as if the gates of hell have opened once again on the people of Gaza. By the way, whilst this is happening in Gaza, the West Bank is going through similar experiences. Nothing has stopped in Lebanon. Syria, notwithstanding their advances and forwarding of the olive branch to the Israelis, they're also continually being bombarded by the Israeli forces. So there's no stopping Benjamin Netanyahu in this war because, as I've said, he has to try and save his own skin and political career.
I mean, before this attack, the Israeli government had stopped, aid getting into Gaza. We understand for more than 2 weeks. Some have criticized this move, of course, and calling it a breach of international law. I mean, having said what you're saying, particularly as it speaks to Benjamin Netanyahu and how emboldened he has become, what are we likely to see here, even from the processes that
is threatening Israel of crimes against humanity and genocide, but they totally disregarded that threat or action, and they continue unhindered in killing and maiming, destroying infrastructure of the Palestinians. So this is a leadership that's extremely dangerous, and coupled with the support of the United States, particularly with Donald Trump at the helm, you are likely to see more horrible things, unfortunately, happening in that part of the world. We know that they're not going to be stopping now in Gaza. They are willing to go on into Iran because they've already threatened Iran. And they've started doing the same in Yemen, attacking certain installations and positions of the Houthis in Yemen. So it's a long war, and it's going to create havoc. And eventually, of course, it's going to impact the global economy and the political stability of the entire world.
And just speaking about how this is likely to have these ripple effects globally, particularly on the economic front, does this then present an opportunity, particularly as we see, the Trump administration essentially just escalating that trade war globally? Will we see an EU perhaps, coming out boldly against the Trump administration and perhaps even providing some needed support in those elements where South Africa is trying to stop the escalation in Gaza, as an example, by going to the ICJ, as one example? Are we likely to see more support, essentially galvanizing against, a U.S. administration and perhaps its allies?
Well, we're likely to see heightened rhetoric, but nothing tangible will be done to stop Israel from continuing with its mission of genocide in Gaza. The EU, many countries within the EU have condemned Israeli aggression in both the West Bank and in Gaza, but that's where it stops. I don't see them doing anything else more than that. South Africa is probably one of the only countries in the world that is taking the boldest move in terms of trying to protect the welfare and the lives of the Palestinians. But I don't see any other country, particularly with Donald Trump at the helm at the moment, taking a position that will stop Israelis from doing what they're doing. We know that the United States continues doing business with a number of countries in the Middle East, countries such as United Arab Emirates, which is complicit in this crime. Mohammed bin Zayed has supported the Israelis and continues to give them the facilities and assets for them to continue with this war. Egypt, notwithstanding that, has been playing a role in terms of negotiations, but it's part and parcel of the problem. Yeah. They've been, blockading the incoming aid from Rafah crossing for years, not only from now. They've been doing this for years, suffocating Palestinians from accessing and exiting Gaza into the world. So you're not going to see any changes, unfortunately, as long as you have Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu at the helm.
That is very unfortunate to hear. But Thembisa, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on. Thembisa Fakude is a Senior Research Fellow, Africa-Asia Dialogues, there for us.